This is like the fourth time I tried to record this video. Okay, so I wanted to talk about Gen X culture versus Disney. Now, I was going to call it Gen X music versus Disney, but I figured I would just call it culture because if you think about it, culture is more than just music. Sure, music is a big part of it, but culture affects the way you dress at a certain point. Now, of course, I'm talking about pop culture. It was a time in the early 90s where dressing like this, having messy hair, basically dressing bad was considered okay. And that was awesome, in my opinion. And again, I'm not telling you what you can or cannot listen to. This is just a video of me trying to explain what I think happened and why it happened. And why my generation, Generation Y to Generation Z, and of course I'm talking about early Generation Y to Generation Z, why we're so bubblegummy today. And about everything, not just music, but about everything, about politics, about everything. So, basically, what happened was when Kurt Cobain killed himself, you had two different corporate sides. One was trying to keep the grunge alive and the underground alive by hiring these bands like Silverchair and Bush, which I don't hate those bands, don't get me wrong. I think they're good for what they were. But later on, you started getting things like Nickelback, Creed, and all the other bands I put on my bad music, on my bad band list. Sorry, that's my dog. Later on, you start getting these Disney stuff. So, Disney was like, so, we don't want to keep Gen X alive. What we're going to do is, we're just going to get, these pop stars, bubblegum pop stars, basically, to be like all, I don't know, like cutesy and stuff, and do little dances and all that stuff. And keep in mind, this is not, I'm going to make one thing clear. It's not girls' fault. It's not women's fault why we have this bad bubblegum music. It's the corporate sectors marketing this stuff to girls, okay? And even I, as a bisexual male, was first formed this stuff when I was, coming out at the time. I was force-fed this stuff. And even before I came out, I always hang out with, the only guys I really hang out with was people who took good care of themselves. So people who may turn out that way later on, yeah, they force-fed me this stuff. And I didn't eat it up, really. I thought it was ridiculous, but you know what? Everybody listened to it, so I was fine. And again, this is not a video telling you what you can or cannot listen to. I'm just saying, I'm answering my own question. What happened? What happened to, the culture I love and white man values and kind of whatever happened to that coolness, I guess is what I'm trying to say. No, it's not really about being cool. It's hard to explain what the generation really was, but was what I love in one word. But it was really just about social issues and just good music. I know people say that about the 60s, but in my opinion, the 90s were, I'm not going to say a period, but it was definitely, it was like the 60s if the 60s actually did something. You know what I mean? Of course, I wasn't there, so maybe I shouldn't say that, but that's just my opinion anyway. But I think, we went so far, and these kids, these Gen Xers, they were the latchkey kids. Now I'm just talking about culture in general. They were the latchkey kids. They had to eat weird food all the time. They didn't really know what it was like to be bubblegummy outside, maybe some bubblegum songs at the time. But I'm not saying that way is healthy, but all I'm saying is relays a culture of just downright people who are lost in the world right now. I know I'm sounding like a boomer, and I'm sorry, but I'm just saying I stand with Generation X. And I hope really soon we have a Generation X president. I understand, I think Obama was kind of Generation X. Was he? Let me know down in the comments. I think he was like a trained baby boomer Generation X. But I think we need a straight up Generation Xer with Generation X ideas. You know, I made a blog like a really long time ago about Generation X. And I basically said, if you want... You don't think about it this way. I'm going to make the same comparison. People back in the day had to record music by radio. Like, they would take a tape, what was a Regal, and they would record it. If they can do that to music, think what they can do with our money system and make it better. You know, I'm up to everything, what will make this country better. And that's why I always like to go back to our roots. Like, what happened to us? Like, was it really... I'm not blaming it on Britney Spears. I'm not blaming it on the Backstreet Boys. They were just, in my opinion, they were just part of this corporate shell. They didn't know what they were doing. They thought they were just making music. Why? But however, the corporate Disney executives know what they were doing, okay? Think about it. I'm going to make this a part 1. So have a good day.